Welcome to Finding Your Inner Joy. And this is a 2-day masterclass. I condensed it from yesterday's, and we're going to be having a session tomorrow, same time. So please join so we can offer some more tips and ways in which you can reduce your stress and anxiety, deal with your trauma and grief, and find your inner joy once again. So, again, my name is Tom Mason. I'm a transformational coach. And as I had mentioned, if you want to grab yourself a journal and a pen, a pad, paper, we'll get started. You could take some notes. So, over the next 2 sessions, we'll unpack what's keeping us from our inner joy. Acknowledging this with vulnerability and grace for ourselves is how we begin to heal from trauma and anxiety, from panic attacks, sleepless nights, brain fog, toxic behaviors. Right? I spoke about this in the welcoming email when you all signed up. So we'll learn tools and healthy habits that we can use in our day-to-day lives to begin to find our inner joy. It's there. We had it as little ones, and somewhere along the way, we lost our inner joy. And I'd like to show you ways in which to get it back. So I am a transformational coach. I am a recovering Catholic. That's a long story. That's a chapter in the book that's going to be coming out later this year. So I'm the best little boy in the world syndrome. If you haven't read that book, it's a good read. I was sexually abused from ages 8 through 19. One of them was my high school teacher, who was also my spiritual guide. I was going to be an Irish Christian brother. And I left the order shortly after that occurred. I was exposed to narcissistic, toxic relationships. I looked for love in all the risky places. I had self-sabotaging behaviors, sex addiction, substance use disorder, spending compulsions, and my trust was given to others all too easily. And every year, as if that wasn't enough, every year since 2008, I've lost someone close to me. My mom, my dad, my sister, 2 brothers, 2 nieces. One was just 12 years old, 3 nephews, 2 newborns, many friends, boyfriends, and partners. One of them was murdered. So I am working my way from trauma and grief, and I'm on the other side of it, mending well, and that's why I'm here to show you the way. I was an airline employee for 24 years. I buried myself in my careers. And in 2001, we all know what happened then. I took a voluntary furlough and I began my massage therapy career. I was a massage therapist for 17 years, and I worked as a prenatal massage therapist. So the beauty of working with women that were expecting was absolutely wonderful. It was there that my spirituality deepened, and I honored the person that was in front of me on the table and created a safe space for them to relax and rejuvenate. And a little side note, in that practice, I specialized in craniosacral therapy. And you can look that up. It is a technique that is was designed by John Upledger, and I had the privilege of actually training under his tutelage in San Francisco uh, early on, back in '97, um, early 2000s, and wonderful. Wonderful. It's like hitting the reset button on our nervous system. So, using these two techniques, the craniosacral, the prenatal, uh, it was a way in which I became the conduit. I believe in God. I'll share that with you all. And I was the conduit. It didn't come from me. It came from above. So I honed my skills there of working with individuals and respecting and honoring them. My spirituality grew. I became an interior designer. 2007, the stock market, people stopped taking the time to get massages, not realizing the benefit of it. It wasn't just a dispendable income or dispendable expense. And then after the interior design position, I worked at Crate and Barrel and Thomasville, and I was a store manager. It was there that I got myself into a very toxic situation and I lost my career. And that led to a PTSD crash. I checked myself into a psych ward. And on my recovery in 2020, I found the Mental Health Association of New Jersey. And there I was hired as a peer specialist, so working with individuals with mental health issues as well as substance use disorder. I was certified as a CRSP and a CPRS, so that's a certified peer recovery specialist and also a certified recovery support practitioner. Both certifications allowed me to work with individuals that were living with mental health issues or substance use disorder. And here I am as a transformational coach. I left MHA last year and I am loving life, helping individuals. My area of expertise is trauma informed and trauma responsive care and grief counseling. And my slides are having fun. Come on. There we go. So from an early age, I disassociated or I left my body. And here's a quick timeline that you can see of everything that's happened in the past 8 years for me. And for the past 8 years, I have been in it, wholly in working on myself and building my wellness toolbox. And I really am moved to serve others. So we're here to talk about trauma and grief. So let's talk about your trauma. And what I'd like for you to do is take a few moments. What does your trauma look like? How has it changed you? So, in your journal, if you take a few minutes and again, with grace for yourself and vulnerability, how has your trauma changed you? I'm much more discerning. I will take a look at a situation very carefully and try to understand it better. I used to walk into things blindly. I also scare easily. My other half could tell you that. And I also am a much more contemplative and analytical. And so give yourself a few minutes Write in your journal, reflect on this, and write down what comes to mind if you would. Believe me, this process isn't easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And by doing things like this and looking at our trauma in the face, we're going to begin to move past it. So I'll give you a few moments. Writing in your journal, how has your trauma changed you? How are you different? Hmm. Himi puts in the chat that trust issues and bleeding on those who didn't cut me. And Asia, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, I wrote it down. Let me look at my notes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine.
Okay, I wrote how has my trauma changed me? I am more afraid of living. I don't dare to live loudly anymore.
I think you also shared we're taught to be smaller,
Yes.
and that
It's
struck
not that
me.
it's not that I'm taught to be smaller. I'm afraid to be louder. So I don't know that someone taught me to be smaller. I just know that I am afraid of the attention because if the wrong attention comes to me in my current body, I can't run away. So I rather be smaller because I don't have the same body I used to. So I shy away from being seen.
I hear you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing. And Ria puts in the chat, when I was in high school, I lost my dog and I was very sad and depressed, but I got a new puppy. But I'm not depressed anymore because I have two puppies that are keeping me entertained. And that is really, I want a dog so bad. When I crashed in 2017, I had two pups. And when I was reaching out to people here in New Jersey, I was in North Carolina at the time. And unfortunately, no one could host me and the dogs. So I had to surrender them. And I surrendered them to a no-kill shelter where I had adopted them from. And the woman was incredible, absolutely incredible. Mary Paduch. I'll remember that name forever and ever. And she was able to adopt them as a bonded pair. So that made me very, very happy. So if you have your notes that are written down, we'll continue on. And let me put that up. There we go. So there's no comparing. My trauma is my trauma, and your trauma is yours. And here's the important thing. If you feel that it is trauma, it is. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It is. I walked out of so many psychiatrists' offices and used the F bomb and psychologists' offices because they weren't as understanding and compassionate as I needed them to be. And I felt very talked down to. And I certainly don't want to do that here. I want to create a safe, loving, embracing community for all of us to begin to heal. So, again, I'll say this: having grace with ourselves allows us to gently wrap around our person, who we are, and heal ourselves. Without grace, without giving ourselves a break as we're processing through this and being vulnerable with ourselves, we can't heal properly. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our bodies and physiology. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not a science geek or all that. But here's something to understand, and maybe it can put it into perspective for some of us, right? I'm sure you've all heard cortisol that's been thrown around a lot. It is the gremlin byproduct of stress, trauma, and grief. When your body is in a consistent state of stress, it leads to heightened cortisol levels that negatively impact your health and actually accelerate the aging process. So, cortisol, on the side note there, it's a steroid hormone that's produced by our adrenal glands, right? It travels throughout our bloodstream, and so it attacks every single organ and tissue. It'll affect our nervous system, our immune system. Why, when I was depressed in my worst state, was I getting sick all the time? Colds that didn't seem to go away, or anything that came my way, I got it. It affects our heart, our lungs, our reproductive organs, our muscles and bones, our hair, nails, and skin. I was wondering why my hair was falling out, no joke. Uh, and like my nails were brittle. I could not understand until I realized what cortisol can do to us. So, what does this all mean? Cortisol. It's actually good when it is used, or when we're able to use it properly. Let me put it that way. The bottom line, we're blasted daily, even hourly, by micro and macro aggressions, plus our stored lived trauma, stress, and grief. All of this raises our cortisol, which in turn puts us into the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response when we perceive harmful events, right? This is what happens in our body because the cortisol is supposed to make us move and get out of danger. But nowadays, we're not in the same type of danger that we were in when we were back in cave person days. So all of this cortisol that's supposed to be making us move, we're sitting in it. And if we can lower it, that's the key. And the current climate in the world, I'm not even going to get into it. No need to talk about politics. I'll be through the roof. But we're getting bombarded every day. Every day. So if we notice and observe, when we embrace our challenges, that's when we can begin to realize there is a way out. Or better yet, a way to process through, thus diminishing future stress and anxiety. I wanted to share a little bit, getting back to the cortisol, the fight, flight, or freeze. It's automatic. It's a physiological reaction that occurs in response to a perceived harmful event, attack, or a threat to survive. So again, we're perceiving these things. Some of them are very real, absolutely very real, and we need to move, or right? Eat or be eaten. So, but we also are in a place where we need to regulate our cortisol. Kimmy, I see your hands up. Go ahead.
So I don't. I know there's the whole fight, flight, freeze, fawn issue.
Mm-hmm.
I automatically go into fight or flight. I automatically have to either I'm going to keep my composure and run, or I'm going to 100% fight it out no matter who is around me at that given point in time. Um, I do go to therapy for it. I do actually go to a trauma class once a week, which is amazing and it's helping me work on my issues. But there's the whole freeze aspect, or like I I literally I have I one day I was at work and I went into that fight or flight. I was which we used to take a company car to the jobs. I Ubered from that job, which was 2 hours away, because my extreme flight, like I had to go home. I had to go into my safe place. I had to be able to be in comfort, and I could not do my job. I paid, I think it was like $147 to get home. Like there was no way for me to get out of that. Not temperature change, not and I know I'm not the only one who does that. Like I've learned recently and through talking with other people, like there's it's just like, how do you stop that from happening?
How do we stop the immediate response?
Like how do you get out of that where you feel like everything's caving and you have to go?
So, what I learned, and I'm going to share these after we get through the physiological part of it, uh, is being aware, and that's where the first thing is to begin to be aware, and we need to practice it beforehand. We now know that we're prone to anxiety or panic attacks. So we need to begin to work on ourselves now when we are in a decent place or a semi decent place or a good place. We
Okay,
need to
that
put
makes sense.
these into practice so that when we're in the thick of it, we're like, oh yeah, right. I share the example. We didn't get on a bicycle and learn how to ride a bike right off the bat. Right. Some of us needed to be held up. Some of us fell and skinned our knees. Some of us had training wheels. And the more that we practiced, right, we took the training wheels off. We were able to do it. But with my mental health issues and my trauma, anxiety, and panic attacks, I had to begin to work on myself with these tools while I was good. We talked about RAP, Wellness Recovery Action Plan. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, which is a superb technique that brings all of this into play, brings it perfectly into play. And a wellness recovery action plan. A little highlight, it teaches us what we look like when we're good and what we look like when we're starting to slip or when we're starting into that panic attack. And these next three exercises that I'm going to share with you will begin to reduce the effect of the panic attacks and the issues of anxiety. So hang in there. I'm going to answer your question. Sometimes we can't, and that's where we need to have grace with ourselves. Sometimes we can't prevent jumping in an Uber and paying $147 to get home and leave the company car because you can't drive. You got to be safe. You stop and think about you protected yourself. You were taking care of yourself when you couldn't take care of yourself. But you did.
Thank you.
You did, right? You're here to talk about it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me share. Welcome those that just joined the room. Appreciate you joining us. We have people from all over. If you want to drop in the chat where you're joining us from, we have people from Nigeria, San Francisco, all over New Jersey, Boston, Brooklyn. So please drop it in the chat. I'd love to know where you're joining us from. So thank you. All right. So I was saying to notice or observe. Like when we embrace our challenges, we can begin to realize there's a way out, or better yet, a way to process through, right? We're not going to get around it. We're not going to get over it. We need to go through it. And by practicing these things, we'll diminish our future stress and anxiety and find our inner joy. So here's one solution: being there for one another, building relationships, avoiding isolation. These are keys to a strong foundation for ourselves. When I was at my lowest of low, I was in bed. I could not pick my head up off the pillow for days on end. I was in the company of my brother and his girlfriend who were hosting me at the time. It was not a pleasant situation. Uh, she was better than he was, but I forced myself out of my room and walked down the hall. Or when I was staying with my niece and her family, I was homeless for 5 years. Um, I had to put myself in situations where I needed to engage with people. It was not easy. I get it. It was not easy. It isn't easy for anyone. But as we can do this, we begin to build a trusting circle of friends. That's the important thing, trusting people that will be there for us. And I will share with you, I'm developing a safe space. We're going to meet every Saturday. So maybe that's an option for you to start, where you can jump on Zoom with me and others, and we can process through our trauma and grief. So I'll share details about that as well. But building these relationships and community is important. And I say this all the time, those of you who know me, it's simple, but it ain't easy. I'm going to show you techniques that are simple. And here, try to come at it from an open mind. You might have heard these. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But listen with an open mind, and more importantly, begin to put them into practice. And then we'll talk a month or two or three from now, right? I told you I've been on my journey. I've been on my journey for 64 years, but I've been on my intense healing journey for the past 8. So you would not recognize me from 2017. I am not the same person, but it's because I did these things I'm going to show you. So, healing from our trauma, grief, and stress, lowering our cortisol, it can be done. We're going to cover many ways in the next two sessions how we can build our defenses against the sly and stealthy, deceptive stressors that we're encountering daily. But for today, let's start with three ways that you can begin to lower your anxiety and your stress. So, my whole thing is I want to empower you to develop the skills and strategies to confidently face life's inevitable challenges. So, the Daily Ohm. I found the Daily Ohm in 2017, 2018, as I was just poking my head up from the hole that I was in. And the Daily Ohm sends a email each day with a um, inspirational message. You can also tune into their horoscope page, which is kind of cool. It's not your average newspaper horoscope. It's pretty cool, actually. And the inspiration is where I found these tools, and they also offer lessons. So I'm going to share with you what I paid for. No charge. This is How to End Your Anxiety and Panic Attacks. It was offered by Ashley James. She is a collaborator and person that works with the Daily Ohm. So when you're having anxiety, Kimmy, right? I want you to close your eyes, all of you, and imagine that you're 15 minutes past the successful completion of an event. So if we're knowing that we're going to be anxious, I have a job interview, or I have to have a conversation with somebody that I'm not looking forward to, or I have bills to pay and I'm anxious about that. I need to go grocery shopping and I'm anxious about that. I would have a panic attack in aisle 10, and the cart would be sitting there and I'd be out in the parking lot with no food. So when we're in an event that we believe is going to be anxiety ridden, we close our eyes and we're going to float above the event, be outside of your body, float above and look down on yourself 15 minutes past the successful completion of the event. So I would imagine myself at home unpacking my groceries. I've done my grocery shopping successfully, gone through all the aisles. I can imagine all that. And then I'm putting them away in my home. I'm 15 minutes past the traumatic event of being in the grocery store. Sounds kind of silly to some people. It wasn't to me. And I get it. So the way that Ashley presented it, we should feel our anxiety begin to diminish, our panic attacks begin to diminish or diminish completely. So why don't we take a minute? Why don't you all think of an anxious event or something that you are needing to do? I want you to close your eyes. I want you to come up out of your body, an outer body experience. I want you to float above that experience and see yourself 15 minutes past the successful completion. Now, in the chat, if you would, give me a thumbs up, a yes, a no, And here's the here's the caveat. She says, if your anxiety does not diminish, then there's something else that you're anxious about. If you are anxious about paying your bills, you might be really anxious about being able to do your taxes. Thank God that's over. Uh, or if you're anxious about completing a project at work and you see yourself 15 minutes after the successful completion of it and you're still anxious, you might be anxious about your quarterly reviews or making your numbers. So practice this, and as we do so more, riding our bicycles, our mental health bicycles, we're getting better at it. Has anybody? So we've got a thumbs up from Asia on the reduction of anxiety. Anybody else? Any thumbs down? Peter with a thumbs up. And again, you're just learning this. Grace, compassion for yourself. And Kimmy, we've got a thumbs up. So try this, right? Write it in your journal if you would, and practice this. And then here's the other one. I like this one. So the next exercise to do to avoid anxiety is, if you might have heard the idea of attaching a habit to something that you already do. Let me move this up. So when we attach a new habit to something that we always do, the new habit becomes easier. What I mean by that, and how to avoid the anxiety. So we're going to choose a number of key times throughout our day to imagine the successful completion of your daily activities. And so I make coffee every morning. That's a habit that I do. My morning would not be complete. Some of you know this. My morning would not be complete without my coffee. So while I'm making my coffee, I'm going to imagine that I'm sitting at my laptop and I am writing my next lesson, and that it is flowing onto the keypad easily. I'm going to imagine that I'm taking a break after 3 hours worth of work that I didn't even realize the 3 hours passed. That's how engrossed I was in my work. I'm going to continue to imagine that the day goes on. I complete 3 or 4 more projects. Haha. And that I take another break and I make a wonderful dinner. And as I am attaching these throughout my day to the successful completion of each of my activities, I'm starting to create new neural pathways, rewiring my brain. I always went to the negative. Oh, dinner's going to burn. Oh, I'm never going to get this done. As soon as those words come out of my mouth, that's what's being created. What you nourish will flourish. What you put your attention to will happen. When we were little kids and we had wonderful imagination, right? We're happy and we're running around, we're having a great time, and we're imagining the most wonderful things. I actually imagined that I would be a homeowner before I was 30. I never thought it would happen. See, I was catching myself and negating the positive thoughts. But I kept it alive and I kept it alive. And those positive thoughts overrode my negative thought patterns. I had a condo on the lake in Charlotte, North Carolina by the time I was 28. And I, I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. So if we do this throughout our day, right? Say that the other habit, it's a habit, we drive to work, right? Or take the bus or the train or the subway. And if in that habit, we can begin to imagine the successful completion of our daily activities, our stress and our anxiety diminish because we're telling our subconscious what we want to happen, what will happen. Our subconscious can't really tell the difference between reality and fiction. And what we're doing is we're not creating fiction, we're creating fact. We're creating beauty in our lives. Each of these exercises that we do, the more we do them, the easier they will come to us, almost like second nature. For those of you who might have taken typing in high school, I, I took typing. They had us cover our heads with the typewriter cover. That dates me. And then they came in and took a picture of that for the yearbook. But I was hunting and pecking until I learned how to type. And now I fly on the keyboard and it's almost second nature. But I didn't do it when I first sat down to a keyboard. This isn't going to happen immediately. So please give yourself some grace, some vulnerability, and some compassion as you're learning these as well as the other techniques that we'll share tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions before I go on? Let me pause here for a sec. Anybody have any questions about any of those the two techniques, excuse me, the two techniques that we shared just now? Anybody need clarification? A daily plan, right? Right. Charlotte. And I think I have Charlotte trauma from people I have dated that have hurt me, so I'm always angry. Hmm. If we can, when I was in the toxic relationship, and I actually created a list of what I desired in a partner. And I kept repeating it and offering it up to God. And I stopped looking. And if I enabled myself, my mind to be free of it and just let it be, it began to come into fruition. If we focus on that negativity and that anger, as I was sharing in the anxiety and the panic attack examples, what we nourish will flourish. What is happening is that we put the focus on the negative. If we keep focusing on the anger of Charlotte, a city, because that's where you dated people that were not nice to you or really lousy to you, or I could use the S word. It's probably appropriate, right? And Peter, you had your hand up? I thought,
I did.
what's up?
Peter from Richmond, Virginia. Yeah, I really enjoyed visualizing the 15 minutes after deed accomplished or success obtained, because I do visualize, and I kind of visualize the end product or solution, and I kind of live in that. I'm able to do that. But when you put that 15-minute timestamp, where that really brings, for me at least, it really brings the emotion of it to the forefront. It makes it real. It brings it into real time, as opposed to just me thinking, okay, your goal accomplished, and how am I feeling? But when I think about that 15 minutes after, boy, that really brings it present for me. So I thought that was really
Thanks. And looking at it from above rather than being in it, she said, by looking at it from above, we're observing ourselves being successful.
really powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it is. I was like, nah, try
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Try it. So, all right. And we will wa- move on to the next uh, is I just mentioned this, but using our imagination in this way, like we did when we were kids, sends a message to our subconscious mind, allowing our thoughts. Here's the heavy, Kimmy. I see your hands up. Give me one sec. Um, we're sending a message to our unconscious mind, allowing our thoughts to influence our beliefs and behaviors. Listen to that again. We're sending a message to our unconscious mind, subconscious mind, excuse me, allowing our thoughts to influence our beliefs and behaviors. So if we continue to go the negative, and it's hard, man, I know it's so hard to catch ourselves from the negative slant. When we can observe and notice and begin to shift, that's when we start creating the new neural pathways. Go ahead, Kimmy.
So in the chat, so Nana, if I'm saying that right, says that she struggles to give herself grace. And I 100% feel her. It's, it's extremely, extremely hard to give yourself grace. Even though you're able to give it to others, you're not necessarily giving them grace. You're giving them more the benefit of the doubt and the okay. Grace is a I don't even know how to explain it. It's more like a homely feeling, like a allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling, to whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, you're allowing yourself to breathe. You're allowing yourself to go through that emotion, to go through that feeling, to so at the same time you're saying you're struggling to give yourself grace, not for nothing, you decided to come to this class. You're giving yourself grace. You're giving yourself the ability to, whether you're not on camera and you're crying or whatever you're doing, and I'm probably going to cry myself, which is why I'm not on camera, but you're giving yourself that ability to do what you think is necessary, to feel how you are feeling, to try to navigate what the next steps for you to be mentally well have to be. So I know you're struggling, but you're doing it. You are 100% doing it. Just have, even if it's the little bit of faith in yourself, realize you're doing it. Please. I'm sorry.
Apologize. Please don't apologize. That was phenomenal. This is what community, this is what I'm talking about. The community, right? And we're going to replicate this on Saturday mornings if y'all want to join. It's on my website. You could take a look at it. I want to talk a little bit more about grace, and I'm going to borrow from Reboot Recovery. And this is a 12-week evidence-based class that I teach in person here in Ocean County, New Jersey, helping individuals deal with their trauma and grief. And we talk about grace. And I have a faith journey. God gives me grace. So if God gives me grace for all that I do, why can't I give myself grace? Why can't I give myself grace? And again, slowly but surely, when we can notice and observe that we're not giving ourselves grace, that's where it starts. When we can notice that and then shift and begin to, that's where the beauty happens. I'm going to go back to the chat, and I see that I love that we've got a Partha is from, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and if I'm not, please correct me. Chennai, India, and I love it. I love. We've got people from all over Nigeria, India, San Francisco, wow, and Charlotte. So Tracy, I'm going to give you a bonus, all of you a bonus. And here's what I did. I am beautiful. I didn't think I was. So I wrote it on Post-it notes and I plastered it all over the place in my own handwriting. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I deserve. I am well. I'm happy. This isn't toxic positivity at all. I don't like toxic positivity, which means, oh, everything's just a bed of roses and everything's wonderful. No, the simple message is I started with, I deserve. I deserve. I'm human. I'm a child of God. I deserve. Just like anybody else. And the more I saw my Post-it notes, and I can look around my room and they're here, my brother would go right behind me and tear them down. I'd put them right back up. He's like, what's this shit on the bathroom window or bathroom mirror? Sorry for the S-bomb. Believing in our own handwriting that's telling us, or standing in front of the mirror and looking at ourselves in the mirror, I love you. I love you. Do you know how hard that was the very first time? Now I can stand in front of the mirror and go, I love you. Not arrogantly, not conceited, not, pig-headed. Why shouldn't I love me? I love me. I'm worthy. I deserve. This is how we lose our inner joy. We're listening to the wrong messages. We're listening to all the crap that's out here, that's all around us, right? Those microaggressions and macroaggressions that I shared earlier of what's coming at us from the world. We got to put that away because we deserve. You deserve. I'm getting chills. but you deserve. Let's see what else is in the chat. All right. Oh, I love you. And okay, so we have a few more things to share with you tonight. So the next one is breathe. The next technique is breathe, right? That's right. Your breath, the way in which you breathe. One simple tool to help you de stress is mindful breathing, bringing your focus to the here and now. So I want you to, again, gently close your eyes and breathe in through your nose, allowing your abdomen to rise, and hold this breath for a moment, and then slowly release it through your mouth. As you exhale, consciously let go of the tension you may be holding in your body. With each inhale, imagine drawing in calming energy. And with each exhale, feel a release of the burdens weighing you down. I also like to imagine my favorite places, the beach, right? Imagine the crashing waves. And on each crashing wave, I'm inhaling all of the salt air, the relaxation, that rhythm of the water, of the ocean. And as I exhale, the tide is taking all of the bullshit away from me, all of the crap away from me, or the mountains and the breeze through the trees. Each inhale, each exhale. Breathe, just breathe. A lot of times I caught myself not even breathing, like holding my breath. So if we embrace each breath as a step toward a more balanced and serene self, and we can do this anywhere. We can do this on the train, the bus, the subway, elevator, right? We're going into a meeting here, another. We're going into a meeting. We're in the elevator. Ah! Breathe. Take a breath and feel yourself in the here and now on an airplane. Crowded rooms. Nobody's going to know what you're doing just before a known stressful situation. In your car. We can practice this breathing technique anywhere. And again, as you cultivate these habits that I just shared, and stay tuned for more tomorrow, as you cultivate these habits, your body learns to handle stress holistically. You enhance your well-being. You slow down the buildup of cortisol in your body. These are some what people are saying about me, and I picked these up off of Facebook. I was absolutely blown away by what everyone had to say. You can check them out on my Facebook page, on my journey, transformational coaching. So the last thing I'd like to do with you all before we go into questions and answers, Q&A, I learned this one along with the Daily Om from the School of Practical Philosophy. And they're located in New York. They have campuses all over the world. and an absolutely beautiful school that delves into thought and philosophy, the way of thinking. But they offered this awareness exercise, simple but profound. And we practice it every morning at 9 o'clock in the morning and every evening at 9 o'clock. And people from all over the world would come on Zoom and we would do this exercise together. So I would love to share it with you. It is a short 10-15 minute meditation. And let me know what you think in the chat once we are finished. So if you would, find yourself in a comfortable position. If you're able to be in an upright position, this allows the alignment of our spine. It opens up our chakras so that the energy can flow freely. And position your feet on the ground if you're able. Gently close your eyes. If you would like to place your palms down on your lap, then you'll have the energy within you. If you want to place your palms in an upright position, then you'll receive the good energy that's in the room. And there's lots of good energy in this room. So I would like for you to take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, begin to feel the weight of your body in the chair. Take another deep breath in. And on this exhale, just let everything go from the day. Just set it aside. It'll be there when we're done. It's not going anywhere. Just put it aside. Third, deep breath in. And on this exhale, feel your muscles begin to soften and relax. Bring your awareness to where your feet meet the floor. Be right there, right where your feet meet the floor. They might be wrapped in your sock. You can feel that material, but just be right there. Now, bring your awareness to the weight of your body in the chair. Be aware of the chair coming up to support your body. Be aware of the gentle pressure of clothing on your skin. Notice at different points of your body, the pressure is a little bit different. Be right there. Be aware of the gentle play of air on your exposed skin. However subtle, Be aware of the gentle play of air. Gently open your eyes without looking around. Take in color as if for the very first time. See color like a newborn baby. Don't identify, just observe. Notice form and color within form. Notice light and shadow, and where light meets shadow. Gently close your eyes. Bring all of your awareness to taste. However subtle, just taste. And smell. A fragrance in the air. Notice the air passing through your nostrils. On the inhale, it's cooler. On the exhale, it's a bit warmer. Just be right there. Now bring your awareness to listening. Listen to the sounds in your room. The large sounds, the small sounds. Just listen. Expand your hearing a little bit. Go outside of your room to the rest of your home and see what sounds are out there. Now widen your hearing a little bit more. Go outside of your home. Notice the sounds outside of your home. Listen to the smallest of sound that you can hear. Now, listen to the silence behind the sound. This, right here, right now, is your one true self. So just rest. Just rest. Just rest. As we bring this exercise to a close, with gratitude for sharing this exercise with me, And we can practice this some more. Gently open your eyes back to the room. You want to give me a thumbs up in the chat if you like that. Any comments that you might have if you want to unmute. And Asia. I don't know if you wanted to share that in the open chat, Asia, or that's just for me. We got thumbs up, we got okays, we've got very peaceful, excellent, 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 excellent. So again, by practicing this more than right now, if I'm feeling like all I have to do is close my eyes, or not even feel the pressure of clothing on my skin, and my body comes back. I shared with you about doing massage therapy or practicing massage therapy for 17 years and prenatal. And working with women, I would suggest that we utilize the same aromatherapy, and they chose their favorite music and a blanket or a stuffed animal. And they would bring these to subsequent massage sessions, and they would have those smells implanted in their psyche. And at the time of delivery, I made it a point: bring the music, bring the aromatherapy, your birthing coach, make sure that they have your blanket or your stuffed animal. And the responses that I got from women was like, man, I not that they didn't need an epidural, but the onset and the intense labor was made much easier, and they were in a calmer state because they could tap into that smell and the music. Think about it, right? You walk into grandma's house at Thanksgiving or your mother's house at Thanksgiving, those smells. And if you happen to be in a house that cooks a similar dish years later, ah, oh, you're brought back in an instant, right? Our olfactory senses are most powerful. And music, we can listen to a song, it can take us to the greatest place or the not so greatest place. So I'm really careful, I'm very selective of what comes into my realm. If I hear a negative lyric in a song, I turn it off, because even if I'm not hearing it, I'm hearing it. It's getting in there. So I don't want it anywhere near me. And so you could do this. That's why a lot of people use music and massage, or meditation, excuse me, massage too, but meditation, so that we can reinforce ourselves with that subconscious mind into the states of relaxation and rejuvenation. And practicing this simple technique over and over again will bring our anxiety levels down, and we can dust off the garbage and get back to our inner joy. So restful. Thank you. You have to go, but oh, you're amazing. And thank you sincerely. Great meeting, everyone. See you tomorrow. Any questions before we head out for the night? I wanted to build in some time for questions and answers. I'm an open book. You can ask pretty much anything. So fire away, if you will. I appreciate everyone being here. I truly do. This speaks to my heart that bringing the message, this isn't my message. This is the overseer, go ahead, Tracy. You're
Um,
what?
I had a question about the brain gut connection. My gut has been a mess since 2011, and I
Mhm.
was wondering what you felt like with your brain gut connection.
There is more and more research that is showing that our brain gut relation is extremely important, and that mental health issues actually are originating in our gut, and they're sending messages to our brain. I am on a probiotic regimen. I started with Align. I'm not going to tout any product at all. I'm just saying that there are good ones out there and there are great ones out there. I have one in the refrigerator. I'll show you tomorrow. Make sure that I have it on camera. Uh, Absolutely 100% our gut health will directly correlate to our mental health and the ability to process what we need, right? Food is energy. And if our gut is not transforming that energy into its proper form, we lose all the nutrients and benefits.
Mm.
So I encourage you to investigate that for yourself. There's some great, if you're in Charlotte, there's some great health food stores. I lived there for 25 years. Great health food stores. And there's one off of, oh gosh, right by South Park Mall, Fairview. I want to say Fairview, where the Dean and DeLuca used to be. How long have you been in Charlotte?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. So, was there a mellow mushroom over that way in this little shopping center right past? Do you know where I'm speaking of? Where Dean and DeLuca was, and
Oh, no, I don't know.
do you
But
know?
I know of some, yeah.
So check them out. And a lot of people that are in there are walking encyclopedias, and they're
Right,
amazing,
right.
amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
So check it out. I think it would be really beneficial. I believe in it 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Good
So
stuff.
good luck. And if I may, respectfully, as a gay man, you're beautiful. Like you are shockingly beautiful. So I know that's hard to hear if that's not what's in your heart, but I'm offering it as a loving compliment to wrap around your heart from my heart to yours.
Thank you. That's sweet. Sleep well.
You too. Be well. I'll see you all tomorrow. Any other questions before we sign off? Want to make sure everybody's got their fill. Thank you, Asia. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
I couldn't find the raise the hand thing. I found it before, but no, I just wanted to thank you. Today was a particularly demanding day. I work in the disability advocacy space, and there's a lot of stuff going on with population who are on Medicaid waivers, and so much so that I was looking forward to tonight, and I got on a half hour late, if not more. But I just wanted to say, like, it was a really good close to my Friday and to my week, and especially like the meditation. It really, yeah, it took me to where I needed to be. Now I'm feeling calmer. My vitals have dropped, I know for sure. So thank you, and I look forward to tomorrow night, Tom. Thanks, and thanks everyone.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate you very much. All right, everyone. We're almost at the top of the hour. I'll let you go early so you can get ready for bed. Or if you're just starting your day on the other end side of the world, Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all tomorrow evening. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good night.